Settle down, brother, is what I am saying to myself today, because I am not settled and I am not feeling down with the new. Oh, that was quite good, actually. I'm not feeling down with the new plan from Ramaphosa for the national dialogue. Low-key proud of myself. I'm going to be ranting for the rest of this for the rest of this show. So that was a nice moment of levity. Okay. The presidency has done something which I think is a total and utter waste of time, a misdirect, a weird kind of spirit squad cheerleading event for South Africa that they are selling as some kind of great move to reset the country, direct us in a better direction, bind the country together, create a new vision for how to build the country. But I frankly think it is an absolute waste of time and money and resources. So let's talk about the national dialogue, this big plan from the presidency to gather all kinds of different society leaders, eminent people in South Africa. Many of South Africans in the last 24 hours have Googled what eminent means. It means high profile and lauded and respected South Africans, to gather them all together around the middle of August to have basically a big yap about what's gone wrong in South Africa and how to fix it and get the country on track to a better, more prosperous future. It's a waste of time and money and attention, in my opinion. And I look forward to you disagreeing with me, but let's talk about it. And let's start with the announcement made yesterday, 10 June 2025, from the presidency. Today, I wish to address you about the National Dialogue, an initiative that has been in discussion by a number of leaders in our country and many other people for some time now. Basically, the idea of holding a dialogue is not a new concept. At every important moment in the history of our country, we have come together as a nation to confront our challenges and forge a path into the future in dialogue with one another. Through dialogue, we were able to deal with the challenges that the apartheid system caused in our country and achieve peace and overcame violence. We established a democracy and ended apartheid. So just to be clear, I'm not annoyed about any of that. That is absolutely accurate. That is absolutely true. We get it. It goes on to say, following the negotiations process, we used dialogue to start building a united nation where once there'd only been conflict and division. That's all good. Then he goes on to say, for more than 30 years, we have worked together to realize the promise of our democratic constitution. We have made great strides as a nation to expanding freedom, deepening democracy, and building a better life for millions, yet we face persistent challenges. And then he names all the very obvious challenges that we all already know. Poverty, unemployment, inequality are deep wounds. Then you go on to page 2, talking about crime and gender-based violence and corruption. And then he says, we are called upon to build safer communities, to create a better future for our children, to direct all of our efforts to building a thriving, inclusive economy that creates jobs and opportunities. And I'm still saying yes, but at this point I'm saying, duh, obviously, why are you making me read all of this? We read this every single day. We read about this in the media. We talk about it in our private personal lives, about all the ways that South Africa is not working out or crumbling for different groups of people, or that the government and the politicians and the political class and the business are failing South Africans. We know all of this. Where is this going? And then he says that we will have a national dialogue. It'll be people-led, society-wide. It'll be a chance for all South Africans from all walks of life to come together and help shape the next chapter of our democracy. Through the national dialogue, we seek a shared vision of what it means to be a South African and develop a national ethos and common value system to forge a new social compact for the development of our country, to a compact that will unite all South Africans with clear responsibilities for different stakeholders, government, business, labor, civil society, men and women, communities, and citizens. Will drive to progress towards our Vision 2030. And I just am like, okay, you're gathering together people to talk about what to do about how our country is and the different ways that our country is. Sorry to Eric and James again for the edits you're going to have to do on my swearing there. We already know what's wrong and we already know how to fix it. That's what our political system is for. That's what our constitution is for. That's what our laws are for. That's what our courts are for. The politicians in power right now have a voted for popular mandate based on promises that they made to solve problems in this country. And the solutions are by and large incredibly obvious and uncontroversial. We do not need to gather a bunch of people into a room to go, what are we going to do to solve poverty? What are we going to do to solve crime? What are we going to do to battle the scourge of gender-based violence? Because the answer is to do what you were voted to do on plans and policies that already exist in this country that are not being implemented effectively. The answer is to stop corruption. The answer is to end fruitless and wasteful irregular expenditure. The answer is to take advantage of all of the resources and the tax-generated funding that South Africa has and is put into the government to implement the policies that have been good policies for 30 years. You can talk to person after person fighting different challenges in South Africa, from education to poverty to crime to unemployment to protecting the environment and conservation. And you know what they all say? They all say the laws are good, the laws are just, the policies are progressive, they're in line with the Constitution. It's the implementation where it fails. Gathering a bunch of famous South Africans together to yap about what it means to be South African and how to bring us all together again and solve all of the issues is not what we need. Nobody, and respectfully here, we're going to talk about the list of people who've been invited. Nobody is waiting for Siya Kolisi to tell us how to solve the crime crisis. No disrespect to Siya Kolisi, no one is waiting for him to give us that answer. We have experts who know how to do this, who have already been talking to government, in the media, to business for decades, who know how to solve these problems. And if you capacitated them, funded them, thwarted corruption, fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure, thwarted government meddling in all kinds of things, including the National Prosecuting Authority, South Africa would rapidly improve. Yesterday, one of the former bigwigs in government was talking about how service delivery was broadly on a good track and improving in South Africa. In the first 10 years of our democracy, it continued to improve. He speculated up until about 2010, 2011, and then it started to decline. Our plans were already working. Joburg was a much better city. If you continue to follow what Joburg was doing 15 years ago, Joburg would not be in the state that it is now. We know how to fix our problems. We don't need a glorified PR stunt cheerleading spirit squad activation from the presidency and a bunch of famous people in mid-August to find a new ethos for what it means to be South African. Do you know how amazing our Constitution is? Our Constitution guarantees rights for people. It guarantees that the government must provide us things like housing, healthcare, education, security, safety, dignity, just administration, all of these things, all kinds of redress. And when the government fails, we can take them to court and force them to change, like the Treatment Action Campaign did over HIV and AIDS and the government's total disinterest in actually looking after people and addressing that crisis decades ago. We already have all of that. We need the government to uphold its constitutional mandate, fulfill the promises to its people. We live in a democracy. We don't need a national dialogue. The national dialogue about what to do in our politics happens every time we vote. That's what a democracy is. So why are we having this absolutely senseless waste of time? Gathering all of these famous people into a room for photo ops to say, frankly, light air, like basically TED Talk motivational speeches about how we need to do better and we're calling on better South Africans. This is Tuma Mina Send Me all over again. And you know what it's going to yield, Eric? Nothing. It's going to yield some cute lines, maybe a new piece of branding, a new catchphrase for the country. We don't need it. We don't need it. We need solutions. Do you remember our last very, very famous tagline for the country? The Rainbow Nation? Do you remember what good PR that was? Do you remember how much sense it made? But the Rainbow Nation, as a concept, slowly faded away and people don't really use it much anymore because of the decay and degradation, because of government failures, predominantly and overwhelmingly ANC government failures for our people. And they have failed in so many ways, many of them completely inexcusable. Life is City Many, for me, will always be the unforgivable thing that happened by the ANC's hand. Why are we having a national dialogue? It is just, Eric, I am holding back on some really rude words, like some really, really, really rude words. Let's look at this eminent people list. And by the way, if you look at the eminent persons group, I know that the presidency said that there'll be people from all kinds of like political, social, and other formations in this national dialogue, right? He says that they're going to be in workplaces, in places of worship, communities, villages, sites of learning. All this encourage South Africans to define our nation's path to the future. We know the path. Do your jobs. Politicians did their jobs. We'd be on the path. Now let's look at this eminent persons group. None of them are elected. None of them are politicians. Many of them are very important and very, very influential. And they're people who I do care about the opinion of. But if you look at this list, I don't understand why these people need to have this group. They're already incredibly influential. Reverend Thabo Makgoba, Anglican Archbishop of Cape Town, already massively influential in civil society. Dr. John Carney, already one of the most important actors in South African history, already massively influential in South African creative life and society. Siya Kolisi, literally one of the most famous and inspirational people in South Africa, already has a massive influence over South African life. You don't need to put him in a room and ask him how he feels about the state of the nation. Dr. Desiree Ellis, one of the most important sports people in South African history, Banyana Banyana coach, football legend, again, massive influence. Judge Edwin Cameron, former Constitutional Court judge, he is one of the most influential people in South Africa. The list goes on and on and on. And I just recognize that all of these people are really important. Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, one of the greatest South Africans ever, founder of Gift of the Givers, one of the most inspirational people I have ever known about. And the first time I ever met him, and I've worked in public celebrity media for more than 10 years, I don't get starstruck. But when I met Dr. Imtiaz Suleiman, I could barely speak. I was so moved to be able to meet him. He is already such a powerful, influential person. What is putting him in a room to say, how else do you feel besides everything that you've already done? How else would you fix the country besides everything you've said should be done to fix the country and the ways that you've done it with Gift of the Givers? Why is this happening? Genuinely, why is this happening? It is such a waste of time, such a waste of resources, plays into all of the ideas about how Ramaphosa loves doing big talk, big consultation, and minimal action. Honestly, I don't know why this is happening. I don't think anything good is going to come from it. I think that they, instead of doing this, could be doing the really important work that government is largely not doing. We have had the latest round of horrifying femicides. No national state of disaster around gender-based violence has been announced. No announcement about reforms has come along about how we could fix the justice system, the Justice Department, the courts, and the police to make South Africa more safe for women and children. None of that. Instead, we're organizing a group back rub. We're organizing a group back rub for famous South Africans. I'm so done. Really, Eric, I'm so done. What is the best case scenario outcome from this? What is the best case scenario outcome for this?
Firstly, great rant, Dan. Love me a good rant. But I did want to say, it almost feels to me like a little bit of a cop-out. In the same way, when we had the whole tax debacle. Well, actually, no, not just, I guess it was the VAT. Yes. That's what I'm thinking of specifically, debacle. At that stage of having a third budget, I feel like that's when the slight spin came on it, which was we listened to the people.
Yeah,
and then and I feel like maybe they thought that had an impact. I don't think anybody really bought that, to be honest, because they would have listened to the people on number one.
That's fair.
Not not number three. But then second to that, and I feel like maybe they're just using this as a doubling down on that idea of we're really listening, even when for some reason you haven't listened for 30 years or something like that. I don't really know what the spin is, but that's what it feels like to me, that they're trying to say that this wasn't just, this isn't the ANC's vision 2030, sorry.
Yes.
It's the people's vision, basically, because now they're listening to other people.
And they're trying to make it sound like, CODESA or the Freedom Charter.
Yeah.
You know what's great about the Freedom Charter? It got nearly everything right.
Yeah.
We don't need this. The country doesn't need this. The country needs the politicians to do their jobs. They need the security forces to do their jobs, the Justice Department to do their jobs. All of the solutions are there. Many of them are already policy and already law. Just do your jobs. Just do your jobs. All of the people who think that I'm a paid-for ANC shill are going to be incredibly confused by this show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I know that was a bit different to usual. I know my voice was raised for a good 12 minutes. Let me know what you think on the WhatsApp line. Become a recorder. The full show is obviously on podcast 0607-613-436. Let's have a dialogue about the national dialogue, shall we? No, let's not do that. All I want on the WhatsApp line really from this show, although you can say other things if you want, is, do you think I'm wrong? Do you think there is some value to this? Because I think that this is just government PR and a waste of time. That's my position. Find out what you think tomorrow.